The ואז גם המידס עם תורים פעיל מכל מקום הם מאירים יוסף תספס מרובה על עיקר מחמס גילוי מייכן אילו שהוא בכנס גילוי עצמיוס הליכוס היסבך, which is a gilui of the essence of Hashem, just like in front of him there's nothing else, and everything is as if it's nothing. According to the knowledge, according to one's knowledge is the praise that a man receives. So the same thing with Hashem. Chachma is able to take in this idea that there's only Hashem, and everything else is just an emanation of Hashem. That's why it says Abba Ilah Mekarnan Abba Atzilus. That Abba Ilah, that Chachma is the main thing that's going on in Atzilus. The midas of Atzilus are just taken in from Chachma, because the idea of Chachma that there's an area safe, and we just have to take in, and we just have to understand Hashem. That's the main part of Atzilus. And an neshama da Atzilus, which means a neshama that stays connected with Atzilus when it comes down here, like Moshe Rabbeinu, it only sees, everything it sees is godliness. You see by the Rebbe every type of thing. Why was this attack fended off? Because there was this mitzvah that was done. Why did this God forbid bad thing happen? Because there was this thing in the world. By the Rebbe's father, you saw that. We found later they found his journal. So he writes at the time of his imprisonment in 1939. He writes that now's the time to take Gvuris, and he connected to his name and all kinds of stuff. Because anything that's in the world he sees really is just it's an expression of godliness. He also said something very interesting. He took the letters of the two big enemies of the Jewish people. We don't want to say their names, but if anyone wants to know who the two big enemies were in the 1930s, one of them was getting up and saying he's the salvation against the other one. And they said, no, it's the same. It's the flip side of the same coin. It's the same enemy. It's just one or the other. And people saw that very clearly afterwards. If not, look up the doctor's plot in 1953 and what that could have led to, except for Purim 1953. It's a whole other story. Ish generally deals with a person who feels midas. When we talk about Adam, we're talking about Seichel. When we're talking about Ish, we're talking about a person who feels midas. And it says, Lefi Sichle Yehulal Ish. A person who's praised, the person who's dealing with midas is praised according to his knowledge. Which means knowledge changes around the midas, and so too above. וכנראה בגשמיאס באדם כשמידייסov misnagin al pi seichel הם משובחים בייser. And so too, as we see down here, that when a person's midas are going according to seichel, then they're very fine midas, much better. Much better than his natural midas. Now we're getting into your question, where he says, 1 second, there's 4 things or there's 3 things? There's 3 intellects. We said there's 3 intellects, so how come there's 4 parashiyos in the head? And the answer is like this. Chachma is just taking the idea. You can't say it's really connected. The feeling of the greatness of Chachma gives the strength to the feeling of Chesed afterwards. But the Chachma itself, you can't say, is necessarily going to lead to Chesed. I can understand an idea that's going to lead to tremendous Gvura. Somebody understands the severity of a sin. So, the Rebbe compared it to like a nuclear bomb. But if you just understand it on the Chachma level, you don't know that this is going to lead you yet to Gevurah. Then there's Bina. Bina is understanding the ideas. You're still in the realm of understanding, not in the realm of feeling. Das is his kashrus to the idea. We're no longer going to just feel the idea. We're going to have actually a very strong feeling for the idea. We're going to have an emotional connection to the idea. It's not enough for me to say, wow, Hashem does all this stuff for me. Thank you very much. Have a good night. I'll speak to you tomorrow a little bit. We have to take it seriously. So then we have to start becoming serious. And series could be about Hashem, Chesed. Now I'm going to do more for Hashem. Or, 1 second, does it make sense? I was hearing somebody speak, and it was interesting. He was talking about anger. What's anger? A person builds, like he's building a tower. You can imagine, you buy a plant somewhere, a construction lot, and you start building a thing, and then right after you finish building, nice, I'm going to take a wrecking crane now. So he said that's what anger is. And you see that it destroys people trying to build stuff, and then you can say that
the feeling that it happens when somebody comes and wrecks something you built. Is that what you just meant?
No, the person's own anger. That too. But the person's own anger. The person could be working very hard to build up a thing, to build up a connection with Hashem, or to build something, or to whatever, and then boom. How many countries fell apart because of nonsense? How many companies? How many? So it's a thing, and you see in a person's own life that he's trying to do something. This comes in, boom, right away a wrecking crane. The same thing that's with every Aveira. If there's one thing that's good in the world, it's a mitzvah, because the reward is forever. You buy a lottery ticket and you just happen to win, and it was the biggest drawing ever, or whatever. Okay, good, but how much does it affect the person's life so much when you're thinking about it? The whole life before he didn't have it. If he's going to be 100 years old and barely going around in this and whatever, so what's it going to be? He's going to be looking up from his bed at a nicer chandelier. So for how long is it going to affect the person? How much is it? It's going to give him peace of mind. Maybe it's not going to give him peace of mind. His children go and squander it and become who knows what. So you never know. But the lottery ticket itself doesn't. A mitzvah, it's a connection to Hashem. It's an eternal reward that no money could buy. So if there's one good thing in the world, one positive thing, it's a mitzvah. If there's one negative thing in the world, it's a sin. Because no matter what, the person is going to always regret it. So the Alter Rebbe writes, don't be sad about it afterwards. But he's going to be more humble, because he'll realize, no, at some point I sinned, and Hashem is higher than time, and whoa. So it's going to keep the person humble. He's not allowed to be sad about it. If he's sad, it's another sin. Somebody asked the Rebbe, he said, I did a sin, so I'm sad. The Rebbe said, you want to be mechabed this aveira with another aveira? Like you want to honor this sin with another sin? But it's something that's dangerous. It's something the person has to get rid of. So it's a destructive thing. So the das then brings these ideas into fruition. It means I have to sit and think about it. I can't just recognize the idea the way it is. I have to sit down and think about it and try to internalize it and realize that there's two ways before a person. If somebody says, here, there's a choice. You can have a refreshing drink. It's got full of vitamins. It's got some whatever. It's got some stuff that's going to alkalize the body or whatever. This is one drink. And the other drink, it's also very good. It's fruit flavored. It tastes better than the other one, but it's fruit flavored rat poison, and it's got a little bit of lemon in it to make it go down smooth. So nobody's going to be saying, you know what, give me that second drink. But that's what the person has a choice every second that he's going. He has a choice between, and the Torah says it specifically, Rei anochi nesim fnechem hayom, chayim, toy, bracha. So, and it says the opposite there also.
That could stop that they were in its tracks.
Yeah.
They were the lemon flavored rat poison.
Yeah. That's what.
That's my takeaway for the night of doing this.
Oh, for sure. But that's what to think of. That this is a destructive thing. First of all, what is it? If there were no Averis, would there even be death? God forbid, no. And how many stories are there that somebody didn't do Averis, and therefore he was able to save people from a lion, from this, that was giving fantastic brachas. There's so many brachas that are given to people. There's people who are alive, but only because of the bracha of the Rebbe. The Rebbe said on certain things that he does, not on everything, but he said any Jew could do it if they would just not do Averis, if they would just have a connection to Hashem, so any Jew would be able to do it. And you see that. it's really it's a choice between, if you want to know what's the ultimate health, a mitzvah, because if a person's so going to be into the mitzvahs and this and whatever, so eventually everything else is going to pick itself up too. If the person is into averis, so it harms the person. It's a destructive force. It's a spiritually destructive force. It's eventually a physically destructive force, God forbid. There's absolutely no benefit. What does it mean?
But the das of Gevurah doesn't necessarily lead to averis.
No, the das of Gevurah means stay away from this thing. The das of Gevurah means recognize. Now, when I'm talking about the idea, I don't yet feel the Gevurah. But when I'm connecting with the idea, I don't want it. I don't want it. Do you want to go? No, I don't want to go. So eventually it becomes not just a. You can imagine, you go over to somebody, they're a traditional Jew, they eat matzah on Yom Kippur or whatever, I don't know. I'm not trying to make fun, I'm just tired here. So you say to them, look, you want to do a certain thing, so you might say, my grandfather wouldn't approve, I don't think so, but it's very calm. You go over to somebody else who's like from the, we're trying to build a mikveh over here. So the people who went in there 150 years ago, and it gives a kerech to everyone else who's going to go in. These were people you would ask them if they want to do something against Hashem. They wouldn't say, I don't think so. So what are you talking about? They'd get all upset. They'd get all, because they saw the danger of it. They saw and when it comes also, when they would warn somebody, they did it out of love, they did it out of caring for the person. The same way, if somebody's about to drink that cup of lemon-flavored rat poison, you tell, I got to tell you what's in there. So they got nervous to see somebody else because they cared about the person, and they cared about the person's soul and their body. So it's an aveira is a corrosive agent. It doesn't matter, it's spiritually corrosive, it's physically corrosive. How does a person recognize it and feel it? It's that Chachma Bina Das process. Chachma is to think about the idea, Bina is to think of the particular, so much so that eventually it's pushed into the heart, that you feel it, that it doesn't remain something above, it doesn't remain in the air, it's a part of life. If I drive onto a clear road, I'm good. If I drive onto this oncoming truck that is going 100 miles an hour, that is probably not a good idea. And the same thing, so a person sees mitzvah, aveira, he sees the clear choice. I have a clear, beautiful field, I'll walk with Hashem in the field, what could be better? Or I got whatever. And it's very clear. And today you see the end result. It says before Mashiach comes, you see everything very, very clear. You could see the beauty of what was. Could you imagine? People think this world, they understand this world. They don't understand this world, because if we were sitting here 900 years ago, we would be preparing or digesting from last Shabbos the Rashi's talk. We would have heard Rashi speaking, and he would have said that whatever, and the whole, we'd have Rashi's colleagues, and just imagine taking a walk in Tzemach 500 years ago, he would bumped into. So it's a whole different kind of world. So this existence is whatever. But you also see today how destructive an aveira could be, how destructive in life, in society, in everything. How it could overnight take a great society and destroy it from within, and so to and there's the miniature, and then tshuva and everything could rebuild everything.